Alright guys, today we are going to be reacting to Ukrainian soldiers spill hard truth about German anti-aircraft gun tank. Let's see what's going on here, guys. Thank you so much for the support. Thank you so much for everything you guys have done for the channel. Make sure that you guys subscribe before you move forward. I'm going to really appreciate it. Let's jump in, guys. Let's see what's going on.
Готовимся. 3900. 833. 3800. Еще. 700. Еще. 3600. Есть разрешение на огонь.
Wow.
Another target eliminated, another few Ukrainian lives saved. We may not know their names, but we do know the name of their protector, Flugabwehrkanonen Panzer Gepard.
Bring on the Flügelkampfkeimler!
Or simply, the Gepard anti-aircraft tank. And hold on, looks like it's still busy.
Yes.
Another one down.
Wow.
Not bad, but not a record yet. If not for the war in Ukraine, hundreds of 45-year-old Gepards would be rusting away in junkyards. And that's the best case scenario because practical-minded Germans usually just melt down outdated machines. The Bundeswehr officially retired Gepards in 2011, claiming they had critical flaws that made them unfit for modern warfare. You'll learn about those soon, but despite this, armies worldwide still want similar systems. And Ukraine is snapping up Gepards wherever it can find them. Let's start with the basics. This machine comes in twos. 2 radars, 2 cannons, 2 engines. Seems like German engineers built the Gepard for every possible scenario. Your like helps the channel grow. Thank you for your support. This radar mounted on the back of the turret in travel position is the search radar. When in use, it deploys and spins at 60 RPM. Maybe not as fast as a German washing machine, but just as silent and reliable. It has an effective range of 9.3 miles. Once it detects a target, it feeds the data to the tracking and targeting radar, which locks onto the target in a 200-degree arc. You can see it mounted on a swivel bracket. Both radars operate independently, come with electronic countermeasure protection, and feature built-in self-diagnostics. Once the data is processed, the fire control system calculates the perfect firing moment. Here's how that plays out. Locking on, tracking, and firing. Sounds simple, right? Not quite. The operator is just being modest. The true brains of the system is the onboard computer, which works so fast it actually needs to be reined in. That's the operator's job, to authorize each shot, because you can't just fire away if the target is over a city or a sensitive site. We only shoot them down over open fields or water. But the onboard computer isn't just an overachiever, it also has veto power. If it detects a faulty shell, it blocks the firing sequence. Seems like a good thing, ensuring no dude rounds get chambered. However, some reports suggest the computer's a little too sensitive. But that's not why the Bundeswehr retired the Gepard. The issue is that this system was designed back in the early 1970s. The original concept...
Yeah, man, that's out. 1970, woof. I mean, don't get me wrong, I know Russia is still using some of their Soviet equipment. So some of these armor does have their place in modern warfare.
Was to shield armored columns on the move and defend stationary targets against helicopters and low-flying aircraft in all weather conditions, day and night. The problem? Modern air-to-ground missiles outrange the Gepard's 2.5-mile effective range. Take the Vichur anti-tank missile, used by Russian Su-25T attack aircraft and Ka-50, Ka-52 helicopters. It has a 5-mile range. The Ataka D system, up to 6 miles. The Kh-39, 9 miles. This means that in a modern battlefield scenario, the Gepard isn't the hunter, it's the prey. Even its turret-mounted smoke launchers wouldn't save it. Just buy it a little time before the inevitable. But in Ukraine, the Gepard found a second life, hunting drones and subsonic cruise missiles. It detects and destroys them with ease, and it does it with style. Just listen to the voice of its twin, 35mm Oerlikon autocannons.
Wow.
These Swiss-made beauties have a service ceiling of 13,000 feet. They won't touch ballistic missiles, but when it comes to swarming kamikaze drones, they're absolute killers. Near Odessa, a single Gepard took down 10 targets in a short period. No wonder the muzzle brake on these twins looks like a crown. Their combined rate of fire,
Wow.
a blistering 1,100 rounds per minute,
Wow.
550 per barrel. But here's the catch. The Gepard carries just 640 rounds total, and reloading takes an agonizing 20 minutes. That's why
And this is the reason why Ukraine is giving a lot of pushback towards the Russian military, I guess. You know, American armory, you know, the Western armory is very advanced. Not saying the Russians not, but compared to, like, for example, Germany, which Germany is very good at building very innovative armory. No wonder this is giving an advantage to at least slow down the war. Because at the end, you know, Ukraine doesn't manage to get like a... Ukraine seems like it's losing ground slowly, you know what I'm saying? But this is helping to stop it a little bit. I might be wrong here.
the operator often switches to controlled bursts, single
this is
shots or
helping.
10 to 12 round bursts. Fortunately, that's more than enough to take down a Shahed drone.
Випадки, коли Гепард збивав
For example, taking down a UAV at a distance of 3 kilometers required just 11 rounds. That's efficiency. And in this war, every round counts.
Yep.
Let's add one more detail. If a shell
Every war
misses, it
counts.
self-destructs. And these
everything
cannons aren't
counts.
just for aerial targets. Imagine those terrifying shells, each weighing between 1.2 and 1.65 pounds, ripping through 115 millimeters of armor and turning the target into Swiss cheese. On top of that, the Gepard moves pretty well, hitting speeds of up to 40 miles per hour. Its 10-cylinder engine is a thirsty beast, guzzling about 150 liters per 100 kilometers, but it delivers an honest 830 German horsepower.
Wow.
Meanwhile, its onboard systems run off a second engine that sips a modest 20 liters per hour.
Wow.
But most importantly, the Gepard has fantastic off-road capabilities, thanks to its tank chassis. This proved to be a major advantage in combat, especially during the battles of fall 2022.
база Леопарда.
It's built on the Leopard 1 platform. However, Ukrainian forces have largely stopped using Gepards near the front lines. For one, its armor is much thinner than the Leopard 1. The 30mm steel plating at the front is enough to stop bullets and shrapnel, but won't handle anything bigger. And with just 15mm of armor on top, it's not built for today's battlefield.
Huh.
Because modern warfare has changed.
It has changed for
The skies over the front line.
Yeah, it's so changed so much. And when they started, they didn't know that the drones were going to be a huge component to the new tactical warfare. And that has changed how we see war from now on.
Are now swarming with FPV drones, each carrying a shaped charge. These little buzzing killers are an even bigger threat to armor than attack helicopters or jets. Any vehicle rolling out on a mission risks taking multiple FPV hits in just minutes. And let's not forget the Lancet kamikaze drones, real vultures of the battlefield, striking Ukrainian vehicles from dozens of miles away.
Wow.
They've become a nightmare for armor. We've covered the brutal realities faced by Western tanks, Abrams, Leopard, and Challenger on this battlefield in several videos. It's clear that the role of tanks and armored vehicles is undergoing a massive rethink. We're keeping a close eye on these changes, so subscribe to our channel, not just to support us, but to see more Western weapons in action. So the Gepard is used wherever it's needed, but at a safe distance from the front lines.
course.
Even in the rear, though, there are far too many places that need protection. And
it's
Ukraine
still
only
exposed,
has about
that's the thing.
55 of these systems.
Yeah,
Given
and the
its
thing is that based on today's modern warfare, it's still exposed. You know,
effective range, that's nowhere near enough. And then there's the issue of ammo shortages. At first, Switzerland refused to supply 35mm Oerlikon rounds to Ukraine,
Wow.
citing its neutrality. Then it went even further and blocked their re-export. Eventually, the issue got sorted, and Ukraine recently secured a deal for 180,000 rounds. But Rheinmetall still hasn't delivered on a 300,000 round order placed all the way back in February 2023. Despite all this, Ukraine is doubling down on these shells, since they're not just for the Gepard. They also go into the Cheetah, the Dutch variant of the Gepard, which comes with an upgraded radar and fire control system, On top of that, Ukraine has also received Skynex systems, straight from Germany. This platform, developed by Rheinmetall Air Defense, is designed for stationary defense. It's not a self-propelled system, but it can be transported and deployed where needed. Right now, Skynex batteries are protecting airfields, critical infrastructure, and other strategic sites. A Skynex battery consists of 4 Oerlikon Mk3 35mm cannons, a command post, and a radar station that detects targets and directs the guns. It has a slightly longer range than the Gepard at 16,500 feet, but let's be honest.
Isn't Skynet has like an artificial intelligence as well? Let me know in the comment section below.
Is how it sounds. Listen to these beauties. Pure firepower in stereo. The Oerlikon MK3 also has an insane rate of fire, 1,000 rounds per minute. To keep this beast under control, Skynex uses 7-round clips to prevent it from going full berserk. And finally, its biggest trick, the AHEAD airburst rounds. Each of these rounds carries 152 tungsten projectiles, each weighing 3.3 grams. When detonated near a target, they create a cloud of shrapnel that shreds everything in its path.
Wow.
That makes Skynex an even deadlier drone killer. But what about crew safety? Surprise! It doesn't even need a crew on site. The Skynex firing unit is fully unmanned. The operator stays safe inside a separate command post, while the system's radar can detect targets from up to 31 miles away. That means they see incoming threats minutes before they enter the kill zone. Still, that doesn't make their job any less thrilling. But can Skynex be mounted on a chassis to create a mobile air defense system?
Probably.
Absolutely. The system is based on Skyranger 30/35 from Rheinmetall, which is expected to become a key part of Europe's air defense network. Its effective range, 5 miles. Just days ago, Rheinmetall delivered a prototype of
I love this design. It's gorgeous.
the Skyranger 30 to the Bundeswehr, mounted on a Boxer armored vehicle. This setup helps standardize components across the fleet, making maintenance easier. The Skyranger's cannon will also use airburst rounds for even greater effectiveness against drones.
Wow.
The Skyranger can also be mounted on Leopard 1 or Leopard 2 tank chassis. But what's the better setup for today's battlefield? Wheeled or tracked? Or is it best to keep the crew completely separate in a remote command post?
I think so. Separate. That's the way to go. Separate. And that way you have less casualty. Otherwise, you keep sacrificing manpower. And at the end of the day, manpower is always king. Very nice, man. Hey, it seems like Ukraine's using they're still using it very well. So this is, I mean, also you're not really throwing those equipment out. Like they said, they ended up melting them. Nobody's using them. Well, at least you're giving some use, I guess. But very interesting. Let me know what you guys think, guys. I'll see you in the next one.